What's up YouTube, it's Noble Blizzards X back for a brand new deck profile, and today I'll be featuring Volcanics, which will be the deck that I'll be running for the 2015 format. And after all the testing I've done with my good friend Sonojono and a couple of good guys who are also running the same deck, I can confidently say that Volcanics have a good shot at becoming a tier 2 deck in the meta, and this is all thanks to their newest support card coming out in Secrets of Eternity as a common, which is Blaze Accelerator Reload. And I'm pretty much going to explain to you what this card does and giving you a quick rundown of my deck. Currently it's a work in progress, and of course it can always get better over time. So if you guys want to pick up like a really solid rogue deck, if you guys have been hardcore Volcanic fans since GX, feel free to pick up the deck. It's very solid. It's a really good deck, relatively cheap if you're going to go for the commons and stuff like that, because the high rarity stuff is pretty expensive. But it's a very solid deck, very fun, and just they're really effective. It has a lot of good matchups. It can even go toe to toe with Clipforts, Burning Abyss, and Shadal's, and it even has a really good shot against Yosenju, Spirit Beast Hamers, and of course the new Necros. So pretty much getting started with the deck profile. Before I get started, I'm going to explain to you what Blaze Accelerator Reload does, because this is actually the card that this deck is pretty much centered around. So pretty much it's a continuous trap card. It's a common, of course, and it has two really good effects. The first effect being, once per turn during either player's main phase, you can discard send one volcanic card from your hand to the graveyard and draw one card. So that pretty much is your tempo keeper, and of course the card that pretty much nets you all of your pluses and all that stuff. So of course the second effect is, of course, while this card is in the graveyard, you can banish it and send one volcanic monster from your deck to the graveyard. And that can also be used during either player's main phase, which is also one of the things that makes this card potentially deadly, aside from being a regular draw engine. And we're pretty much going to get onto the deck profile and see what makes this card so good. And I actually forgot to mention that this card is also treated as Tri-Blaze Accelerator while it's face up on the field, which is going to be relevant in a short moment. So on with the deck profile. We're going to start out, of course, with the essential Volcanic engine, being 3 Rocket, 3 Volcanic Shell, and 3 Volcanic Scattershot. So this is basically the essential Volcanic cards to run in the deck so far. And whether you're playing pure or hybrid, this is definitely the cards that you're gonna have to put in your deck to if you guys want to play Volcanics. And pretty much, Rocket is your main searcher. Of course, he searches for any Blaze Accelerator card, and that includes Reload. So definitely summoning this guy in any way, whether it's flip summon, normal summon, or special summon, you can grab any Blaze Accelerator card from your deck or graveyard and add it to your hand. So definitely the essential card. Always run 3 of this guy. No questions asked. And of course, Shell, of course, is your fuel to pretty much add back, because Shell can add another copy of itself once per turn while it's in your graveyard. So, of course, if you have Reload, you can pitch Shell, pay 500 to add another Shell, and just keep the momentum going even on your opponent's turn. So definitely solid card, run 3 of this guy. And lastly, this is the reason why this deck wins a lot of games, and it's also pretty much like the source of all the rage quits in case you're playing up against Volcanics, and that is Volcanic Scattershot. Basically what Scattershot does is, if this card is sent to the grave by the effect of a Blaze Accelerator card, hint Reload, basically, you have the option to send 2 more copies of this card from either your hand or deck to the graveyard, doesn't matter where, and pitch them, destroy all monsters your opponent controls. And he also has another effect where whenever he's sent to the graveyard by any means at all, he can also inflict an additional 500 points of damage to your opponent's life points. So not only can you potentially Raigeki your opponent's field, but you can also inflict a 1500 burn each time you do this. So this is really good, of course, with Reload. So because while this card is in the graveyard, of course you can banish it, send Scattershot, and pretty much blow up your opponent's setup, and it can happen during either player's turn. So your opponent is pretty much always in constant fear of getting Raigeki'd and getting burned. And what also makes this even more potent is that it can make optional effects miss timing. So if you guys don't understand what that means, well, pretty much if you're up against a Yang Jing player or anybody who runs the Fire and Ice Hand engine, Scattershot makes those cards miss timing. So any of you guys who run those engines, you guys better watch out for this play, because your monsters will miss timing if they get blown up by Scattershot when it's pitched by Reload. The rest of the last of the volcanic lineup is pretty much one counter because we're kind of short on volcanic names, and I do kind of agree that counter is bad, especially against players who know how to play around it rather well. But of course, we need more targets to pretty much pitch for reload. So definitely, like it's a pretty decent one of, and also really nice against the Cliff Fort matchup because Cliff Forts are mostly beat sticks. And lastly, of course, we run one Volcanic Doomfire, very solid card, and it's practically the best boss monster that Volcanics have. And with the release of Reload and the fact that it's treated as Triad Blaze Accelerator, as I mentioned earlier, it's summoning this guy is as easy as flipping this open and sending it to the grave to summon this guy out. He's also a Pyro that can be recycled via Royal Firestorm cards, which I do also run in this deck, and he can also combos rather well with the Scattershot play with Reload. And if your opponent's board is clean, he can also swing for pretty much another 3k and combo that with the Scattershot burn, and you have yourself like a nice chunk of damage pretty much inflicted to your opponent. So definitely a very good one-of card to run in Volcanics. Definitely run one Doomfire. And not to mention, the artwork on Doomfire looks really nice, especially when you get him ultimate. Now, for the rest of the monsters, we run 3 Royal Firestorm Guards. I would suggest that you guys run 2 if you play Pure, but actually 2 if you run like the hybrid builds, but I guess 3 if you're playing Pure Volcanics. He can recycle himself, basically shuffle 4 Pyros from your grave to your deck, draw 2 cards. Really nice. It's a level 4, you can make rank 4s with it, and 1700 attack is pretty solid. 2 Summoner Monk, because it's practically your 1-card setup. Going on your first turn, your first turn can be easy as pretty much summoning Monk, pitching any spell you want, searching a rocket out of your deck, searching for pretty much Reload, overlaying for Lavalval Chain, and sending a shell or another copy of Reload to set up your Scattershot play. So I don't think I really need to explain to you why I run 2 Monk and only 2, because it's semi-limited at the moment, but it's pretty much one of the best cards to have in the deck, and I would say it's pretty much staple. And the last monster I run is one Blackwing Zephyros the Elite. Right now, just testing this card, and so far it's testing rather well. It's pretty much like a rank 4 spam deck, and there's also a lot of continuous spells and traps in the deck as well that you can return with Zephyros. He can be pitched via Lavalval Chain and Phoenix Wing, Wind Blast, or Karma Cut if you do run those cards. And of course, just pretty much make rank 4s with this guy, basically. And that covers my monster lineup. Now for the spells, of course, we run 3 Pot of Duality, which is essential because this deck doesn't really special summon that much compared to other decks. Of course, this is a spell, so it's also a Summoner Monk food. It helps with your consistency because this deck kind of suffers from slight consistency issues as well. So of course, you really need to get your Monk and your Rocket ready to go when you start up the game. So yeah, definitely run 3 Pot of Duality. It's an essential card in this deck. 3 MST. Pretty much because of the meta nowadays, and you can even use MST on your own Blaze Accelerator, Reload, and set up your Scattershot play. 1 Blaze Accelerator because it helps against certain matchups, especially against Cliff Forts. It's searchable by Volcanic Rocket, and it's also a must because it can be easily abused because of Summoner Monk. So yeah, I would highly suggest that you guys run at least 1 Accelerator. It can make even those dead Scattershots and shells in your hand usable, so you can start deck thinning in case you didn't draw Blaze Accelerator or Reload. 1 Book of Moon because it's still good in the meta. 1 Snatch Shield because it's a stupid card to come out of the list. 1 Soul Charge. Soul Charge is really amazing in this deck because of the fact that you still get pluses off of Rocket, and of course you can potentially get up plays with Summoner Monk. One of the best plays in this deck is to pretty much activate Soul Charge, going for Summoner Monk and going for Volcanic Rocket. Have Rocket search, I would say, either the Trap or Blaze Accelerator, and then have Monk pitch Accelerator to grab another 4 out of your deck, even another Rocket to search again. So definitely Soul Charge is a must. You really need it to get your potential rank 4 spams, and it can save you games as well, and pretty much get your setups and your pulses going. So definitely run it. And lastly, for the spell lineup, I run 2 Forbidden Lance. And after testing, I feel like Forbidden Lance is an essential card in this deck because Royal Firestorm Guards, Summoner Monk, and of course Volcanic Rocket are essential plays that this deck needs. And if your opponent manages to stop these with stuff like Phoenix Wing, Wind Blast, Karma Cut, Fire Lake, Skill Drain, all of that stuff, you pretty much find yourself to be in trouble, especially, you don't want people dropping stuff like Break Your Skill or Phoenix Chain on them as well, especially because this deck has like a limited monster count, so you want to make sure that these essential cards go off all the time. And of course, Lance is a spell that can be pitched with Summoner Monk, and it also helps certain matchups, especially against Clifforts and Shaddolls, so you could beat over stuff like Winda or any of the Clifforts that are equipped with Sacrifice as well. And that pretty much covers my spell lineup. Lastly, for the traps, we run, of course, the 3 of this new card, which is Blaze Accelerator, Reload, and this of course is the reason why this deck is relevant in the format now. So no questions, run 3 of. It's a common, very easy to get. I run 2 Black Horn of Heaven at the moment because I don't have Vanities and Emptiness on me, because I'm not willing to drop $40 for that card. Black Horn serves its purposes, especially against stopping extra deck monsters like Virgil and Dante. It can stop Pendulum Summons and all the other rank 4 spam decks as well, and even Synchros. 2 Breakthrough Skill, because of course you can also pitch this with Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, and it stops monster effects, very helpful against the Shaddol matchup as well, to pretty much negate your Denko Sekkas, negate their Windas and all of that stuff. 2 Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, because you can also use this to pitch Reload and Volcanic Shell, so it works really nicely with those cards, and just like you can pretty much like get benefits off of them. And it's also a very, very powerful card to run as well, and we can already see that because of Burning Abyss. So this is another deck that can actually abuse this card very, very well. So yeah, run 2 of at least. And lastly, I run 1 Bottomless and 1 Compulsory. So that pretty much covers the main deck. I'm going to go over the extra deck, and it's mostly really rank 4 spam, but the most essential cards that you want to run in the extra deck is the 2 Lavalval Chain and the 1 Daigusto Emerald. And the reason is, of course, I run 2 Chain is because you need Chain for those early game setups with Summoner Monk, which I told you about, summoning Monk, pitching a spell, search Rocket, add Reload, overlay for this guy, detach to send either another Reload to set up your Scattershot play for your opponent's turn, or send a shell to search with shell to add another one to your hand, and set up your draw engine for Reload. And of course, the reason why you need the second one is, of course, this card is still amazing in late game, especially because of its stacking effect, where you can detach one, put stuff like Royal Firestorm Guards or even Volcanic Doomfire to the top of your deck, have your Reload discard another Volcanic monster, draw the card that you just stacked, and you pretty much have your recycling play with Firestorm Guards ensured, as well as your potential push play for Volcanic Doomfire. So yeah, definitely run two of this, 2 Lavalval Chains, very essential in this deck. And of course, I don't really need to explain to you why you need to run Daigusto Emerald, because you do send a lot of your Volcanics to the graveyard, recycle your Scattershots, your shells, and all of your essential cards, put them back, and draw a card out of it, and potentially +2 if you still have shells in your graveyard and stuff like that. And the rest, of course, is generic rank 4 stuff. Stuff like Honor Arc, Castle, Exciton. The rest, pretty much Cowboy, Dweller, Karen Gorgon, Ragna Zero, which is still really good against certain matchups, especially Clifforts. 1 Rhapsody, 1 Pappy, 1 Gemini Pearl, which I'm probably going to swap for Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon for beat stick purposes. 1 Hazy Flame, Infernal Flame Vixen. 1 Diamond Direwolf, and 1 Steel Swarm Roach, which is not bad against certain matchups like dragons or, any inherent stuff like that. But that pretty much covers my deck profile. Hope you guys enjoyed that, and I hope you guys like the video. The deck is still a work in progress, of course, and we're still trying to look into what cards you can use to pretty much improve the deck. But overall, the deck has been performing rather well. It's really solid. So if you guys like the video, click the like button, subscribe to my channel if you like my videos, share my videos with your friends, spread the word of volcanics, my videos, the word about volcanics, and I'm also going to be posting 2 links down below. And I would highly recommend that if you guys are interested in picking up volcanics for yourself, I would suggest that you check out my friend Sonojono's channel. He's been doing like a couple of in-depth discussions on volcanics, and he also has some replays for his test plays on Volcanics as well. So if you guys are interested in checking those out, I'm going to have his channel link down below on the description, and feel free to check that out and explore the weaknesses and major strengths of Volcanics as well. So yeah, check that out for yourself in case you guys are interested in running the deck. The second link that I'm also going to post is the link to the Pojo thread that I'm following currently. Whether you're a member of Pojo or not, feel free to check that link out and see if the suggestions that we're having are taken to your liking, in case you guys are trying to look for techs or potential cards to run, other deck profiles that you might want to see from other people. And just like if you are a member, feel free to just post and just give us some feedback, and just feel free to put some discussion, some ideas on the thread over there, and just help us to make Volcanics rise up in the meta. So that's pretty much covers it. My video, sorry it was pretty long, it was pretty in-depth, especially because this deck has finally started to come out, with Secrets of Eternity coming out next week and all. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and just see you guys soon. Like the video if you like the video, share the video with your friends, and post some feedback down below, and check the links out that I posted. So thank you guys, all of you wonderful people, for watching, and it's been so long. I'll see you guys next update. This is Neville Blizzard ZX signing out.